Something happened on the markets last night, and let me tell you, the markets didn't like it. So the whole market went completely red, and Bitcoin went below this trend line over here. I thought I knew what caused it, and what I thought wasn't actually what caused it. So today I'm going to show you what the markets actually didn't like and when it's actually going to turn. Also, for those of you who've been following Mr. 100, remember Mr. 100, that's the account that's been buying 100 Bitcoin every single day for a long time and has accumulated millions of Bitcoin. I'm going to show you exactly who Mr. 100 is. So let's get going, and I'll tell you what the market didn't like about yesterday. You know what? I love it. I love the people in the chat that complain about the fact that I'm late. The reason why I'm late is because I'm sitting here reading all the comments about the people that are complaining that I'm late. And every time there's more comments, it makes me later and later and later. So that's what we do while we're late. Everybody, welcome. We've got a lot to talk about today. Because yesterday we were with you, we were drinking whiskey for those of you who came. For those of you who didn't, you missed a great evening. We all sat here, we drank whiskey, got a little bit tipsy because every time Trump said data, we drank whiskey. And we thought when we left that everything was okay. In fact, when we were looking at the charts yesterday, I'm going to the hourly just because it makes life a lot easier. When the FOMC started, we were at 65,300, and when the FOMC finished, we were at 65,300. But then we had a red candle, and I tried to work out exactly what the red candle is, and I think I actually finally worked out what the red candle is. That's what I'm going to be talking to you guys about today. But I ain't doing it until we get to 500 likes and until we get to 962,100 subscribers. So that is when the alpha is going to start. So you guys hit the likes, you guys subscribe. When we get to 962,100, that is when officially the show will begin. Okay, and when we get to 500 likes, that is when officially the show will begin. So now the beginning of the show is in your hands. I was a little bit late, but now the beginning of the show is actually in your hands. So while you're doing it, can we get another whiskey today? Maybe. Do you think we can? You see, now I see the likes going up. Now everybody, the sweater Ran is wearing looks comfortable as fuck. It's warm as fuck. Trump is always on Ran's mind. Well, that too. Until you're on time, we don't like. Okay, tomorrow I'll try and be on time. You want to know the real reason why we're not on time? I'll tell you the real reason why we're not on time. Because we are not only creating crypto content, we're also playing a YouTube algorithm, right? Now, in order for the algorithm to promote our show, it needs to see that there's lots of action. And that means that we can only start after there's 1,000 people in the waiting room. So we sit here and we wait and we crack jokes while we wait for there to be 1,000 people in the waiting room. So I think the earlier you guys arrive, the earlier we can start the show. In terms of banter, shouldn't do clickbait titles. Okay, we'll stop. Tomorrow we'll just do 100% honest titles. We'll just stop. Run said Trump instead of Jerome. Yeah, I may have said Trump instead of Jerome. That happens. Anyway, listen, we will read all the comments a bit later on today, I promise. But for now, let's go into the alpha of the show. Lots of alpha. Let's work out what actually happened yesterday and why the markets actually started to come down. What was this candle over here? Now, initially, I thought to myself, okay, it must be FOMC related. But we covered the FOMC. And you know that the FOMC was possibly the most boring FOMC of all time, okay? Nothing happened. The price of Bitcoin didn't move. Why? Because Powell said, look, we haven't made a decision yet about reducing rates in September. He said he did start talking a lot more about the job market than he was talking about inflation, which means that at least now his focus has moved away from inflation. But he did say, we'll just keep assessing the data before we make future decisions. There is one key data point before the next time there's an FOMC. There's no FOMC in August because the FOMC was on the 31st of July. You can see here that the next FOMC meeting is actually on the 18th of September. Now, before the 18th of September, we get CPI. CPI needs to come down if Trump is actually going to reduce rates. That's the data point that Trump's actually going to rely on. When he was pushed yesterday, but when I say to you pushed, like I'm talking to you like really pushed, because this guy wasn't budging, okay? He wasn't budging. Look at what he said.
The question will be whether the totality of the data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks are consistent with rising confidence on inflation and maintaining a solid labor market. If that test is met, a reduction in our policy rate could be on the table as soon as the next meeting in September.
You see? So he said a reduction on the table could be as soon as September in the next meeting. By the way, one other thing that I'm going to talk about today at the end of the show is my personal portfolio is getting fucking wrecked. It's upsetting me a lot. I'll tell you why my personal portfolio is getting wrecked. I know you want to hear it, so I will tell you. Anyway, back to the story. So Trump gets pushed. He is non-committal on the fact that there's going to be an interest rate cut in September. The market is still saying, look, 86.5% chance that there's an interest rate cut in September. Okay, so it wasn't the FOMC that did the damage last night. I can tell you that. The reason why I know that is because I look at the stock market. If the FOMC was bad for risk assets, the stock market would have been the first place that would have taken a dump. Now, look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ yesterday went up 2%. It doesn't look like it here because I'm on a long time frame, but look at that daily candle yesterday. That was, believe it or not, it was a 2% daily candle. Look, 1, 2, there, 1.49% daily candle. Just look at the moves that NVIDIA made yesterday. So gold is almost at an all-time high. NVIDIA went up 10% yesterday. So don't tell me that the reason why the markets dumped was because of FOMC. And then I read this tweet, which I think was very tired. Well, it was very good. It's from 𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗪. He says, I'm so tired of this bullshit. Stocks are ripping as if humanity solved the disease, technological breakthrough, unlimited energy, and world peace. And crypto is dumping because Kamala Harris has climbed back up in the polls. Then I also saw this chart over here, which was the chart of gold and Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, which is supposed to be digital gold, is going down while gold is actually going up. So what I know for sure is that it wasn't the FOMC that caused the red candle. So then what did cause the red candle? Well, maybe it was this over here. Maybe it was the fact that Iran may actually attack Israel. Because remember that Israel mounted an attack in Iran and they killed one of the Hamas leaders. Okay, his name is, let me just get you his full name. I'm not good at pronouncing names. 𝗓𝗪𝗓 Haniyeh. Now, at the funeral, the Iranian, he's not his president, he's the Iranian ruler. He said that they must now go and attack Israel. So then I thought, when I woke up this morning, the red candle was actually because Iran is going to attack Israel. And that is very, very, very much a possibility on the cards. Warning, intelligence indicators from Iran are that they will launch hundreds of ballistic missiles and drones at Israel, largest strike in April. Iran, Hezbollah, Iraqi militaries, and Yemen will likely want to saturate air defense and draw blood for Hamas. So this could be a reason why the market went down. But then I looked at the oil price. And the oil price, okay, I mean, it's up a little bit. It's up from 78 to 81. It doesn't show that the market is panicking. So what is it that is causing the market to panic? Because something is causing this market to be red like this. This is not normal. Okay, well, we had the monthly close yesterday. Remember the monthly close? Now, we had a lot of debate in the office as to the monthly candle and how the monthly candle would close. Let's quickly just look at how the monthly candle did close. Let's just quickly open this up and look at the monthly candle. You know, I'm gonna say that this does actually look more like a doji candle than a pin bar. So we did have the doji candle across, which means that we took liquidity from the top and we took liquidity from the bottom. Okay, the monthly candle close was a good monthly candle close. It was above the 2021 high again for the 5th month. What we do know is that August and September are the worst months for crypto. They are the worst months for crypto. If you look at the average returns for all the months in crypto, so June's a bad month, but then August 2.46 and September is the worst month for crypto. So generally what you'll get is you get people going away and only coming back in end of September, October, and that's usually when crypto starts to pump. So you can see when you look at the Rect Capital chart, which shows us generally when the breakout happens, it says Bitcoin is still on track for a September breakout. And that is, when we say September, it probably means towards the end of September. So generally, this is not a good time for crypto. However, what I do want to say is that for us at Frontrunners, I was very proud of the Frontrunners team, because I always tell them that they've got to be accountable for the trades that they put in Frontrunners, which is our Discord. But when I say accountable, I always say to them, you've got to log your trades on a spreadsheet so that we can see how many we're getting right and how many we're getting wrong. This month, Kapoor had 100% profitable trades. Now, if you want to join frontrunners, so if you want to join frontrunners, all you need to do, well, you have to wait for someone to die or someone to leave, and people don't leave because it's an amazing community. We hook up with people around the world. We're actually having a frontrunners poker tournament coming up now, where we're giving away a massive prize. If you want to join frontrunners, then you click on this link over here. You will then be allowed into a waiting list. We will take on some people as soon as anyone leaves. You will be the next person to get in. Trust me, it's where you want to be. As I said, 𝗕𝗅𝗡 had 100% hit rate. Joe had a very good calls. I had some very good calls, and I'm going to show you some of the calls a bit later. So we do know that it is part of the cycle, and this is the boring part of the cycle. And actually, to be honest, today I was going to make the title, I'm leaving and I'm only coming back in October, because, like, to be honest, I don't know about you guys. For me, it's been 157 days of this bullshit, of this going nowhere. 150 days, no, it's more. Let's see. It's 157 days of sideways movement. Every time Bitcoin goes up, I get all excited. I make a bullish thumbnail, and then the next day it's like this, and then I change the thumbnail to end of bull market, end of bull market cancelled, shit like that. It's frustrating. But the reality is that this is actually pretty normal in the cycle, and that the breakout usually only happens at the end of September. So my best advice to you today is come back at the end of September, because at the end of September, we usually get huge fireworks, specifically in October, November, and December, and specifically in election years. Until then, what you can see is that there are two types of cohorts. One is the cohort that's getting wrecked, and the other one is the cohort of the whales. And as 𝗕𝗢𝗔𝗬 says, he says whales are preparing for the next altcoin rally. They got more limit buy orders for altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and ETH, which are starting to increase. So people are starting to prep themselves for the inevitable rally. But I still haven't worked out the mystery as to why we got the red candle yesterday. Was it the Japan trade that we spoke about yesterday? This yen reversal trade. So this yen reversal trade is a very serious thing. And to be honest, I got on the phone today to 𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗢𝗧, and he agreed to come on to Banter tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to cover with 𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗢𝗧 this Japan trade, because it's serious. And I phoned him, I said to him, listen, is this Japan unwind trade a serious thing? The one we spoke about yesterday. And he said, it's a very serious thing. He said there's $3 trillion in assets which may begin to unwind themselves. And so he says this is it. But this is not what caused the red candle. So then what actually caused the red candle? Well, I'll show you what caused the red candle in Bitcoin. Here it is. It's one simple chart. It's not a crypto chart. It's not a dollar chart. It's not a Bitcoin chart. It's a different kind of chart. That is what caused the price of Bitcoin to go down. In fact, in the chat, you tell me which chart is the chart that caused the prices to go down. Come on. Someone says, hey guys, does frontrunners include low meme cap calls? Yes, there is a meme section in frontrunners. But, big announcement, I'm not supposed to leak here, right? Next month, we are launching a meme-only group, a meme-only alpha group. It'll happen next month. It's going to be headed by one of our researchers. It's not the yen chart. What caused the red candle? It's not the 𝗏𝗏 chart. Guys, the chart that caused the red candle is this chart over here. This is what happened yesterday. As you can see, what happened yesterday is the odds of Kamala winning the elections went up, and the odds of Trump winning the elections went down. When we looked at this yesterday, Trump had a 60% chance of winning. Today, Trump has a 55% chance of winning. This is the one chart that made Bitcoin actually come down and gave us a red candle, whilst the NASDAQ continued to go up, because the NASDAQ doesn't give a shit whether Kamala comes in or not. Gold basically says, look, if Kamala comes in, they're gonna keep printing money. The chart that destroyed us and destroyed crypto was this chart over here. And this is the chart of Kamala catching up to Donald Trump. Remember, I said to you that there's a big problem here. Kamala is gaining momentum, and that momentum is very bad for crypto. Trump is pro-crypto, and the market priced in a Trump win. But the reality is now setting in that Kamala is actually starting to gain a lot of momentum. Now, I've been losing a lot of momentum because I've been saying that Kamala is gaining momentum, right? And I've been losing momentum because I've been saying Kamala is getting momentum, and people don't want to hear that Kamala is gaining momentum. But I have to tell you guys the truth. As I said, since she got endorsed by everybody else, all of a sudden, Kamala is starting to gain momentum, and that is very bad for crypto. I saw this today on Bloomberg. It says, Donald Trump's electoral outlook continues to deteriorate from the heights in mid-July, with the betting odds on predicted now showing his chances dropping just under 50%. They reached 70% at one stage. The rapid reversal should be seen a further unwind for the Trump trade that remains, and indeed investors have received cautionary lessons and dangers of underestimating how rapidly political landscapes can shift. I've been warning about this. I said to you that the road is going to be a very tough road and that everybody factored in a Trump win. The problem is that now it's starting to materialize. And a lot of people are now believing that Kamala can win. I mean, even Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
She's going to win.
No, she's not.
She can win.
She absolutely can win. I do not think she's going to win because the more she talks, like in 2020, how bad do you have to be that you can't even make Iowa? She couldn't even compete with the mayor of South Bend.
I feel like we are in this very bizarre time where people are giving in to the bullshit in a way that I'd never suspected people would before. And this is one, they just want no Trump, no matter what, and they're willing to gaslight themselves to think that. And by the way, I think Hillary could win. If Hillary jumped back,
he thinks Trump. He says he thinks Kamala can actually win.
The Republican nominee.
I would have thought that Trump getting shot would that's it, election's over. But it's like they memory hold that so quick.
You would have thought Trump getting shot would have had 8 years of corporate journalists talking about hate speech causing violence to be like, let's take a step back, and that went for what, a week?
They did take a step back for a little bit, and then they went right back at him.
You want to talk about this memory hole?
I'm also going to say it. I mean, I didn't want to talk about this because every time I talk about this, the video gets shadow banned. And now I'm actually going to talk about Google on YouTube, which is owned by Google. So say goodbye to this video. But we also know that Google is meddling with the search results. I'm sure you guys have seen it on Twitter. I'm not going to show it to you guys here. But if you search and you say, like, Trump assassination attempt, it brings up Kamala Harris. I mean, that's what's going on here. Everyone sees it. Elon's been talking about it for a long time. People are starting to think that Kamala can win. And what happened yesterday, which caused this huge, candle towards Kamala, was the fact that Trump went onto some platform where he was met. It was, I don't know what the platform was, but it was a very black platform, so to speak, right? I don't know, are you allowed to say that? Is that done? I mean, you can see that the tide's changing. From my interactions, a larger portion at scale, tech CEOs prefer Kamala over Trump. Something tells me, this is from Horse, he says, something tells me Kamala Harris is the next president of the United States. Feels like Trump is overconfident earnings earnings into disaster. So the tide is turning, and people think that Kamala Harris could actually win. Now, this was further exacerbated by the fact that Trump went for a very, very, very bad interview yesterday, where he was, just listen to this interview.
Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
Give me a
definition then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a very direct question.
Define it for me, if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn, and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is...
I think somebody should look into that, too, when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir.
So, I mean, you can hear that. Just listen to this.
American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language?
So wait, so let me show you this. So where does he get this Indian thing from? Well, I mean, I found something very quickly.
Okay. Is an Indian recipe.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you are Indian.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and I don't know that everybody knows that, but I find that wherever I go and I see Indian people at the supermarket, on the street,
I don't know,
everyone's
is she
like, you know,
Indian? Is she
Kamala
black?
Harris is Indian,
Look,
right? It's-
guys, just for the record, I think this is a good time for us to set the record straight. I'm not Indian. Like, I know a lot of people think I'm Indian. Like, I'm trying to, this is like the time where I think we should just go like face to face, heart to heart. And let me just tell you, I'm not Indian, okay? Now, I sometimes identify as an Indian, but I'm not Indian, okay? So you need to know that, and we can carry on with the show now. Because I don't want this to happen to me one day. Like, I'm not Indian. A lot of people think I'm Indian and say that I'm Indian. And that's what's pretty much going on with Kamala Harris. She keeps changing color. She's like a chameleon. Wherever she goes, she changes color. But this is what happened yesterday, guys. Just listen.
Is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like
Look how
that?
this is how she welcomes him to the event.
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country. Including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and, you know, and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, you know, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was
Mr. President,
wrong.
I would love
I think
if you
it's
can
a
answer
very
the question
nasty
on your rhetoric
question.
and why you
I
believe
have
that
answered
black
the
voters
question.
should trust you with another
I
vote.
So
have
this
been the-
this is the shit that actually went down yesterday. And okay, now this is why the polls went towards Kamala stuff. And now, as I said to you, a lot of people are starting to think like, hold on a second, maybe Kamala's going to win. Ryan Adams says, I just spoke to 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗧. He is very confident Kamala will flip pro-crypto and that she will win. I don't trust Kamala. She's not going to be pro-crypto. I'm more on Tom Emmer's side. He says, if history is any guide, Kamala Harris will throw her political weight behind the Elizabeth Warren approach style to digital assets. She's widely known as the most liberal member of the United States Senate before the media started running cover for her. So don't trust the shit that she says, and that's why the market is actually going down, because the market's looking at this chart. Now, from now on until the elections, the chart that's going to dictate the Bitcoin price and the crypto price is only one chart, and it's this chart over here. And this is the chart that we should be watching. We need someone to create a trading view indicator, Josh, to create us a trading view indicator where you can draw the line of Kamala Harris's odds against Bitcoin. And this is the only chart that counts. Because don't think that all of a sudden the Democrats are going to have a change of heart and they're going to fire Gary Gensler and they're going to fire Elizabeth Warren. If we get Kamala, we're in for 4 more years and maybe even 8 more years of this shit, okay? You need to understand that that's what's actually happening. And also you need to understand that my name is Ran, it's not Raj, it's not Imran, it's not Ranjit. I'm not Indian, guys. Like, I know I'm reading the chat here, guys. I'm reading it, I can see it all. I'm not Indian. Although I love India and I love Indian people, I'm not Indian. I know some of you think I'm Indian. I just don't want it if I ever run for president, I don't ever want to be like, to have that. If I ever run for president, listen, I'll never ever make president because there's so many stories that as soon as I announce that I'm running for president, people are going to start pulling out stories. And the stories involve gummies and much worse things. So I'm never going to be president. Anyway, let's go to altcoins. Altcoins are getting destroyed again. Getting destroyed once again. Sorry, Colombian flu from yesterday. It was whiskey yesterday. Ranjit, Imran. Someone says Ran is colored. I don't even know what colored means, guys. Ran Raj, have an open mind. Okay, so altcoins are actually getting destroyed. At the same time, Bitcoin dominance is going up. And I did see Meltem, who tweeted, and she said, Bitcoin dominance is at its highest level of 3 years. And she made a very valid point. She said, ETF flows fundamentally altering market dynamics, no longer Bitcoin gains into alt cycles. Because in the old days, what used to happen was, someone says 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗘, we can talk about 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗘. Researchers just sent me the stuff on 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗘 about how the SEC arrested their founder and why they arrested their founder. So in the old days, we used to be the only participants in the market. And we used to take the money that we used to make in Bitcoin, and when we made enough money out of Bitcoin, we used to go lower down the risk curve, and we used to go to ETH, small cap alts, large cap alts, and then small cap alts to make money. But this time the cycle is different because we aren't the ones driving up the Bitcoin price. The people driving up the Bitcoin price are the ETFs, and the ETFs can't move down the risk curve unless they move into Ethereum. And that's why what we're getting now is we're getting the Bitcoin dominance going up because we can't fight the ETF inflows. And the ETF inflows are flowing in effectively to maybe 1 or 2 assets. That's it. That's where the ETF inflows are flowing into. And that's why right now the Bitcoin dominance is not looking very good. The reality is, though, that as soon as we get a little bit of inflows into the altcoins will actually start running. And we see that every time we get some kind of like good inflow and the number goes up, the altcoins recover. But when we get an outflow, we get a number go down, then the altcoins get smacked. So for now, what we know for sure is that there's going to be more flows into Bitcoin and ETH. That's the only thing we know for sure in terms of timing. In terms of timing for ETH, every day, the outflows are getting less and less. So again, yesterday, we had a net outflow of $77 million. It's very hot in here. And also, I'm wearing a sheepskin jacket, so one of the two. Grayscale's ETH had an outflow of 133. Again, one of the smallest outflow days. So it's getting better out there, and the outflows are starting to run out, and eventually this thing's just going to start going. So we know that about Bitcoin and ETH. We also know this. I mean, if you read the voodoo on the charts, by the way, if you like voodoo on charts, you should watch Fefe. Fefe is very good with voodoo on charts. Okay, he's very good at that. He says, altcoins, it's finally happened. The bullish golden cross, it's another signal. It's going to happen at some point. I don't doubt that we're going to get an altcoin run. And when we do, you can see just how quickly the altcoins actually recover. Solana recovered 28% in like the last week or something. So you can see that when the altcoin run actually happens, then the altcoins have a great run. But right now, as I say, it's a tough time for altcoins. And the reality is, what you know is when there are tough times for altcoins, that is the time when you should be buying. Now, I mentioned to you at the beginning of the show that my altcoin portfolio is taking a big hit and that I'm feeling it today. I've had such a rough 2 days on my altcoin portfolio that I'm starting to walk funny. That's how badly I've been shoved. Because in the last 2 days, we've had very bad. We had a hack on Astroport. Astroport was one of my big positions, right? And you saw what happened yesterday. It wasn't really a hack on Astroport. It was more a hack on the IBC protocol. And at least that's finished now. But the price of Astroport got hit. And Astroport, okay, it's up 20% today. But Astroport was one of the big holdings in my portfolio. But then again, it feels like the Cosmos ecosystem just can't take a break. Cosmos is the most fucking depressing ecosystem that there is, Jesus Christ, and I'm quite long the Cosmos ecosystem. This is the lowest sentiment I've ever seen in the Cosmos community. Another bad day today. Today, the Kujira price got destroyed. You can see over here, Kujira got absolutely destroyed. We were digging to find out why the Kujira price actually got destroyed. I mean, look at this. Kujira is down 43% today. Turns out the team's tokens are getting liquidated. And this is a message from Dov, who's the founder. He says, hey, all, just posting a short message here. As a team, we thought the best use of our portion of funds would be to leverage and deploy across the ecosystem in order to bootstrap liquidity. We felt like this was the correct course of action. Sadly, this coincided with various attacks, not trying to feel sorry for ourselves, but just explaining a sequence of events, people targeting the team positions, and it's been a constant fight since these positions were created. We've been working to keep these positions safe, as well as ship countless features, including the entire overhaul of 𝗕𝗠𝗘𝗣𝗕 V2. The tide wasn't in our favor during the market, and various events and attacks happened. Not feeling sorry for ourselves, just explaining. So in terms of what's happening now, the team's positions are at risk. A, panic, further selling, as we can see in this chat alone. Some have mentioned a certain influencer is saying it's a rug on Twitter. So and the team's positions require more bids to fire off potential liquidation. So it looks like the team are about to get liquidated. We take responsibility for the positions. We sincerely apologize for the impact. We're working all angles right now to work out how to handle the debt. So the problem is that if this goes down, the team actually gets liquidated. If a team gets liquidated, how much incentive are they going to have to remain in the ecosystem? So this is quite dangerous for Kujira, but if they recover from this, everything's going to be okay. And that's why I said yesterday in Frontrunners, I think for Astroport, you're probably not going to get a better buy than getting it at like 2 cents or 3 cents. And so I'd be buying this. Also, I want to remind you that when we get peak FUD, that is when ecosystems generally turn. And you can see that the Cosmos ecosystem is starting to get peak FUD. And so I think that the Cosmos ecosystem might be one of these ecosystems that might be at the bottom of the FUD. So when the altcoin cycle turns, I suggest that you land up being in some of the Cosmos ecosystems, because no one's looked at the Cosmos ecosystem for long periods of time. So that is the Cosmos ecosystem. Let's see what else is there. There's a couple of other things that are happening. The Cybertruck, don't forget. You've got, let's see how many days to get the Cybertruck. Here we go. You have 44 days if you want to win the Cybertruck. Means you've got to open an account on Bybit using any crypto banter link. And then you just got to trade. And every time you trade, it goes into a raffle. And then you can win the Cybertruck. But in 44 days, that Cybertruck will be given away. So you are running out of time if you want to do it. Also, Telegram. They launched a Telegram browser, opening the Telegram Ton3 Web3 to 1 billion users. So they've now launched a Telegram browser. Lots of news coming out of the Telegram ecosystem. Also, Hamster says that they are delighted to announce a roadmap upgrade. We firmly believe that each player contributes to our shared success. We've allocated 60% of the token supply to the players of Hamster, and they're getting a distribution. So lots of cool shit happening on the Telegram ecosystem. And you know, Telegram's like basically been acting like a stablecoin. I mean, it doesn't really move. It moves slightly up, slightly down. It hovers between $6 and $8. That's kind of where it is, $6 and $7. It's probably like one of the best holds if you don't want very much risk this cycle. What else is there that's happening today? I do have an airdrop opportunity for you. If you guys want an airdrop opportunity. And after this, I'm going to tell you who Mr. 100 is, because we know who Mr. 100 is. So Mr. 100 is the person that's been buying 100 Bitcoin a day and has huge holdings of Bitcoin. I'll tell you who it is at the end of the show. But before that, for those of you who are interested in airdrops, now, I can't officially say this is an airdrop because I'm not allowed to say it's officially an airdrop. But I'm going to say it. So Kronos, you know who Kronos is? Kronos is the chain that was essentially backed by Crypto.com. They created a chain called Kronos. Now, Kronos actually has 3 chains. They have an EVM chain, they have the original Cosmos chain, and now what they have is they have what they call a ZK EVM chain. So it's a ZK, it uses ZK Sync technology, and it's an EVM chain. Now, if you use this bridge and you bridge money onto the EVM chain, you get points. Officially, I can't tell you that points are going to go into an airdrop, but unofficially, I've never, ever seen any points not translate into an airdrop. So you can decide whether you want to do it. I mean, this chain has been around for long. Let's actually see what the Kronos price is. I think is it CRO? It's CRO. 86 cents. So a market cap of 2.5 billion. I don't know. I think it's probably worth having a go with this thing. I've got to be honest. It's been quite a very, very, very resilient chain. Okay, lastly, I did tell you that I would tell you who Mr. 100 is. Mr. 100 is the account that has been buying all those Bitcoin on the market. A lot of people thought that Mr. 100 could be Tether. And the reason why is because Tether said that they are holding $4.7 billion worth of Bitcoin, and 4.73, and Mr. 100 actually owns $4.74 billion worth of Bitcoin. It's not Tether. Everyone thinks it's Tether. It's not Tether. The answer is very, very, very basic. The answer, you can just look on Arkham, and the answer is that Mr. 100 is actually the Upbit cold wallet. That's who Mr. 100 is. It's the 𝗥𝗢𝗕 cold wallet. 𝗥𝗢𝗕 is a Korean exchange. So it's not Michael Dell. It's not, I don't know, whoever else was supposed to be accumulating Bitcoin. It is the 𝗥𝗢𝗕 wallet. Also, before we go, I did see a lot more people took Bitfunder challenges yesterday. Tomorrow I will fund the accounts. Yesterday I funded, who was the guy's account that I funded? Fahad. I funded Fahad's account, or I'm going to fund Fahad's account. Remember to go sign up so you can trade with other people's money. Also, we have like 5 minutes left, so maybe we can do a Q&A. But serious questions only. No, I'm not Pakistani. I'm not Indian. I mean, if you want serious questions, is Sheldon Mr. 100? Mr. 100. Ran is Mr. 100. He buys with your money. Okay. It's Michelle Obama. Epic strategy. Epic strategy. Epic strategy never got it all this morning. Nicholas says, good show today. Thank you, brother. Maven says, best show ever. Sometimes I just get in the mood where you know, no, there's not much to talk. Oh, views on Deso. I mean, I owned BitClout and I saw what happened yesterday with Deso. Turns out that the founder, was running a Ponzi. So it turns out that this whole thing was a Ponzi. He raised like 257. Former Princeton rower Nader Al-Naji has been arrested for defrauding investors of $257 million through the BitClout project. Al-Naji falsely presented BitClout as a decentralized platform while using the funds for personal luxury purchases, including a mansion. The SEC and FBI have charged him with multiple offenses, including wire fraud, carrying a potential 30-year sentence. Okay, holy shit. That doesn't sound so good. Also, because I've got a little bit of BitClout tokens. Not a lot, just a couple of BitClout tokens. Now probably worth 0, I would say. I think I sold them, actually. What else is there? 𝗪𝗓, yeah, I like 𝗪𝗓, but the question is which 𝗪𝗓? On Sunday at the meme show, I'll tell you which 𝗪𝗓 is the real 𝗪𝗓. What else? Run is Odin. Valhalla is coming. Run, are you an Eskimo? No, I'm Indian. Why you got to be like that? Jeremiah says, Shalom, Run. Assalamu alaikum. There's lots going on in this chat, guys. Lots going on in this chat. Lots going on. All right, chaps. We will see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends. And I'm not Indian.